G'day, Mr. Kane here, and we're going to look at things that eat each other, connect together in kind of what we call a food chain. So it's just a very simple way of showing who's eating who in the ecosystem. So keeping it simple, we're looking at what's called the trophic levels, which are the different sort of feeding levels in an ecosystem, and we're just looking at a very simple flow from one to another thing to one more thing, so who's eating who. So you can see here we've got primary producer that's producing the energy, and then we've met the consumer term before, so that's the things that are consuming the energy. We're going to look at a little bit more detail what's going on there. So, for example, shrubs, so they're producers, dairy herbivores. Deer are then food for the next thing up the food chain, the mountain lions, which are carnivores. So here's it looking at our food chain. So shrubs beginning, yep, energy comes in, they are producing the food. They're taking the sun's energy in, turning it into sugars, growing plant material which has energy in it, which the deer is then going to eat. Okay, so they're called producers, they're producing energy. The deer is the first member of the food chain to eat the shrub, so it's the primary consumer. In this case, a deer is a herbivore, although that first consumer could also be an omnivore. It would never be a carnivore. It's going to be something that eats plants. And then we've got the second one here, the mountain lion, the secondary consumer. Okay, it could also be what we call the top of the food chain if it stops there. Nothing eats the mountain lion, perhaps. Okay, another look at things. So here's that food chain again. And the first one's always a producer. They make their food. Okay, and then in the next place we're going to have in here, it's either going to be a herbivore or an omnivore. It's going to be something that eats plants. Okay, and then next into here, the next level up, that will be either a carnivore or an omnivore. It's going to be eating something else, and so on up the food chain until we get to the very top of the food chain. These around here are all going to be either carnivores or omnivores. Okay, it's only this one here is never a carnivore. So another example, this possibly is an ocean one. So the phytoplankton, that's the producers making the energy from sunlight. The zooplankton, that's the herbivores, or it could be omnivores. And then we go up the food chain, what's eating the plankton? Fish larvae, small fish, bigger fish, mega fish. Then maybe us in the fish and chip shop, topping out the food chain. But these food chains are forgetting something. This one's forgetting something as well. Not quite so accurate, but entertaining. But it's forgetting an important member of the food chain. This one does include the important member. Without this part of the food chain, well, we'll be in a big mess, put it this way. We've got to have the decomposers. Without them, we don't get the nutrients, okay, going back to the producers. No decomposers, we live in a big mess. So don't forget the decomposers. So, next step up from food chains, which is a simple view, is a thing called a food web. That's all the food chains interconnected. So, no, perhaps not. That's not really a food chain or food web. It's just what he's prepared to eat. No, not that one. This one. Okay, so we've got a food chain on the left, a simple flow diagram from producers through to the owl at the top there. Whereas the right hand side, we've got it more interconnected. So the owl's going to eat multiple things. but it's all coming from the producers. But we mustn't forget the decomposers. Where are they? They're still forgetting them. They're important. We need those for the recycling of everything. Without them, we live in a big mess. So, the environmental reservoirs, where all the nutrients come from, they go into the producers. Producers pass them on to consumers, and then we need the decomposers to return everything to the environmental reservoir, where all the nutrients hang out in the environment. Producers get hold of them there. Now, decomposers will decompose consumers, but they'll also take on producers as well, so it all goes back to the environmental reservoir. So that's food chains, then a brief look at food webs, and don't forget the decomposers. Okay, hope that was helpful. Thank you for watching.